So I have here with me Jacquie Doucette, who has set up a podcast that I found the other day called Beyond Retirement. And you've been doing this for a while, Jacquie, and becoming quite an expert on this whole retirement process. The first question is, can you just tell me a bit about you and when you left full-time work and what you were doing and kind of your thoughts initially? And then we'll come on to what I'd like to talk about, which is finding purpose, that big challenge.
Sure. Thanks, Victoria. I'm really happy to be here. The first thing I'd like to say to set everybody straight, I guess, is I haven't left my full-time work yet. I'm kind of doing this on the side still.
Okay.
I started podcasting in May of 2019. And it was just, it happened by accident. I was doing a house sit at the time, actually, which is what my glorious side hustle is going to be into retirement. And I was watching a presentation about how to create content. And it could be content for anything, but this was specifically for house sitting or for podcasting. And I had it all laid out after this 3-day, 3 one-hour sessions. I had a year's worth of content laid out. So I figured, well, I might as well start a podcast. So I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, but I started my podcast and it went fairly well. And then I continued on a little bit with it. And that's, kind of a different story, but I did it because I wanted to find something that I could continue doing, something that leaves me feeling like I'm doing something, because the job that I'm doing is an important job, but when I walk away from it, someone else will take it over. So it's not something that's meaningful to me.
When one of the podcasts, I've been listening to you going on walks, and you talked about finding purpose, which is why I contacted you, Jacquie. Can you just talk me through about why that's important to you, what you think it matters to, not just to you, but to everyone? What is this thing about purpose? I've read so many books about retirement, and everybody talks about you need to find purpose. But they talk about it as if almost, let's pop into the supermarket on our way home and pick up a jar. Whereas I think it's one of the most difficult things people have to do at this stage of life.
It is. Finding your purpose is something that could be a lifelong struggle, or it could just pop into your head one day. Excuse me. For me, I started thinking about why I was doing the podcast, and that goes into the first few episodes. Why am I here? What am I doing? And at that point, my purpose was just to prepare myself for retirement. And I looked online and I looked for things about retirement to help me kind of plan it. Everything was about the financial aspects of retirement. And I didn't want that. I mean, anybody can tell you need to save some money if you want to retire. Yeah. But I wanted to know what else was going on. What am I going to need to do? Where am I going to be? I didn't want to be that person who retires and sits down on the sofa with her feet up and watches TV for the next 30 years, because I don't think I'll last 30 years if that's what I'm doing. I watched my parents. After my father retired, he was out doing things every single day until he couldn't anymore. And when he couldn't anymore, he aged phenomenally right away. And that was the end. So I knew that there had to be something. So I started thinking to myself, what am I here for? What am I going to do? How can I make a mark? How can I be important to something or to someone? And that I started looking. I looked online. I did the Google search, finding my purpose. And, I did some little tests and things. And basically it's finding something that you're interested in, finding something that warms your heart, that brings joy to you. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be volunteering. It can be walking dogs. It can be anything at all, but you've got to find something that makes you want to get up in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, I was talking to a group of senior people recently, and I was using that example that quite a lot of the people we worked with in the early days said the problem was that I had days when I wondered, would anybody care if I got up in the morning? And that was when they were struggling to find, what am I going to do? And it seems, it sounds joyous, a life of doing nothing when you're really stressed and busy. But actually I've seen so many people, it's just empty. And it's that bit about the purpose that matters so much. So how did you come to finding your purpose then, Jacquie? And how would you define your purpose? I mean, this is all sounding very high, grand stuff here, because And I know it doesn't really work like that, but just talk me through how you went through that.
Well, I think I'm still on the journey to find my ultimate purpose, but my purpose started out with the podcast. It was to find some way to share what I was finding with other people so that they wouldn't be traveling the same road as me, you know, whether that's just talking on the podcast or whether that's teaching people how to do different things so that they're not just sitting empty in retirement. I guess that's, you know, that's where I'm going, where I'm heading is
and
to
when
share.
you say that you're still, I can't remember the words you use, but sort of on a journey, if you like.
Yeah.
Why does that not feel enough?
I think what matters isn't so much that whether I'm there or not, it's that I have to have something to keep me going. And if I've found my purpose and I've done whatever my purpose is, it would all be over, and it's not over. And it's like retirement isn't an end. Retirement is a new beginning, and you've got to find a way, or I've got to find a way to keep doing things. And the only way to keep doing things is to say that my purpose isn't fulfilled yet. I haven't finished what I've set out for. And it doesn't have to be a grand thing at the end of it. It just has to be something that you're happy doing.
Jackie, thank you so much. I'm still on a journey. I know what my purpose is at the moment. It's definitely similar to yours. It's helping people. I call it making a success of unretirement. But I definitely have a purpose in there, but it will change in the sort of the way it looks and what we do and everything, I think, over a period. So I would love us to keep in touch, and thank you so much. And let's both of us share how we do in finding purpose and any nuggets. I'm definitely doing more research about this and why it matters so much. I think it's really important in keeping people fit and mentally active and socially linked. I think all of those come from the purpose. So let's stay in touch on this. And thank you so much, Jackie, and good luck with you and your podcast. I'm definitely a fan and I'm following it. So it's Beyond Retirement, isn't it?
That's right. Thank you very much, Victoria.
Thank you very much, Jackie.